my teenage years, I was becoming aware that not just boats and tennis and playing in the woods and water were fun. Girls were fun too. They were silly, they were unpredictable. Why they loved horses so much, I'll never know. But they were definitely fun. You have to think back and place yourself in that golden age of teenagers having fun, not having sex, maybe thinking about it a little, but having fun with music, rock and roll, American Bandstand, so many dances, 45 records in the Mad Pack. No iPods, no cell phones or TV. You had to go over to someone's house if you wanted to say something, because the phones were so bad. Remember the party lines? And Karen Kelly. When I grew into a teenager, I went to the wharf whenever I could to swim and hang out with my friends at the Mad Pack on Cottage Street. We listened to records, played games, and socialized. And sometimes we would pool our money and walk up to Jordan's Drive-In for pizza and soda, which were sometimes shared between quite a few of us. And Meredith Lang recounts, Cottage Street, let me see. My worst transgression was sneaking out of Grant's cottage to meet Johnny Lansing. It took what seemed like hours to get down the stairs as each one creaked and groaned under the slightest way. We did not get caught, and it is a very fond memory, as is all the time we spent at the Mad Pack. We knew we were cool, and life was far simpler. The worst tragedy was the end of summer, when we would all have to part company. Sometimes weather was remarkable, and sometimes pets. Mary recalls one summer my brother brought a crow to Maine in a parrot cage. The bird didn't travel well, and took quite a while to recover from my brother helpfully trimming his tail feathers. This wonderful bird, Jimmy, lived free, showing up for meals and causing quite a stir in the neighborhood. For one thing, he was quite a thief. We couldn't play badminton at all if he was around. And watch out if you had something shiny, like a nail or a foil-wrapped candy. Swoop, and it was gone. He was hugely entertaining and a great addition to a couple of summers. And Nancy Richardson remembers, off the Searsport town wharf, we'd fish with a stick, of wood and string, a lead sinker, and a hook baited with a clam. We would let the string out until the sinker touched the bottom and then raise it. We caught sculpin, flounder, tommycod, and sometimes mackerel. Not much to eat, but always some action. I remember being taken out to catch a codfish on a big boat. The lines and the weights were bigger and included several hooks, and you pulled in 2 or 3 at a time. Daddy took us clamming, too. He would turn over the stony beach, and we were instructed to dig with our hands. We would feel the clams sucking into the mud and go furiously after it with our fingers. Afterward, I remember lots of grit under my nails, cuts on my hands, and smelly muck on my clothes. But those clams were the best.
This is the last picture. That was the last one.
Oh, that was the last one?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the last picture. Well, didn't we promise you an alligator? Charlene Knox Ferris anticipated the Blanchard girls' arrival for days after her 4th grade school year ended. That year, she remembers, there, on some newspaper on the floor of the car trunk, was a miniature alligator. Diane and Lynn watched for my reaction and were pleased to get the surprise scream and jumping backwards behavior for which they had hoped. But Diane was not so pleased when she put on some big work gloves laying in the trunk and picked up the gator, only to find that it was dead of heat stroke from its hot car journey. I was happy to go with them to their beach, way above the high tide line, dig a pit and bury it. We picked some wildflowers and put those, along with some pretty rocks, on top of the grave, and then we all bowed our heads while Diane said a few appropriate words of sadness at its demise. It was then, I should get over here so you can hear it. It was then that she explained to me that the reason they had brought the alligator was so that they could charge money to exhibit it to the local children. The Blanchard family, who had done well in the ship chandlery business in New York City, and obviously this acorn named Diane had not fallen far from the tree of entrepreneurial ingenuity. And it got better. She did not let the fact that the alligator had died spoil her plans, only alter them. Many times during the summer days that followed, a passing child would be invited to go home and get a nickel and return to pay that nickel as a fee for the privilege of seeing a real alligator dug up from its grave and displayed in all its decaying glory. Actually, it became something of an ongoing science investigation into the discovery of the various steps of desiccation that the creature's body went through on its way to the skeleton stage, which we got to see just as the summer was ending. Diane had turned the lemons of life that life had given her, or in this case, the dead alligator, into highly profitable lemonade. There was a steady stream of nickel-carrying children that came during that summer, and an adventure that I have never forgotten. P.T. Barnum and his New York Museum of Curiosities had nothing on Diane Blanchard and her sister Lynn that summer of the alligator. Well, we are putting together, we're planning to put all of our materials together into a book, and maybe, maybe some people would like it. I have one that I have bound already, and it looks like this. And what we're putting in it is all the materials, the program that we gave tonight, and then a bunch of the photos that we showed, and then in the back, all of the materials that people gave us, from all 25 people that submitted stuff to us.
This was only a portion,
because we didn't figure we could go on for 3 hours.
So anyway, if there's anybody that's interested in this, we are thinking that we would make these up and sell them, and the money that we would raise, we're going to donate to the barn fundraising for the Historical Society.